Welcome back to Daughter of Serpents. We're still in the museum discussing the scroll in a piece of exposition that just doesn't end. The third spell is one of True Sight, or Divination. It uses a needle of gold and the spittle of serpents, but doesn't say how. A golden needle. Well, that's uncanny. Back in 1918, one of the officers stationed in Cairo, a Captain King, was found semi-conscious on a bench in the Esbekith Gardens. There was no obvious sign of injury, but it seemed to be drugged, and when he was spoken to, all he would say was, "She scratched my eye with the golden needle and gave me second sight." He stayed in that state for several weeks, and then became feverish and delirious and died. But that was all he would say. The strange thing was, when they carried out the autopsy, there was a scratch in the corner of one eye. We never got to the bottom of the affair. The only clue that was that King was one for the ladies, and he'd been seen with a beautiful young Arab woman. She was wearing a veil though, and it's hard to identify someone just from their eyes. The telephone. That will probably be for me. I told them I could be reached here in an emergency. What? Who? How long ago? Any witness? All right, I'm on my way. You must excuse me, I'm afraid. Something bearing in this case has come up elsewhere. I'll try to get back, but if not, I'll be in touch with you tomorrow, Professor. Of course, Cameron. I'll carry on here for a while and try to decide whether this is genuine or not. Good night. Good night, Lord James. And he's gone. An extraordinary mixture. The whole thing. This part seems to be a prophecy of the end of the world, when the stars are right. Why did we have to use that particular phrase? It is too close to the ritual of certain hideous cults. Such prophecies occurred a lot towards the end of the Ptolemaic era. That could mean that this is a later copy with additions. One's the original dedicated to Ptolemy the Seventh. The seventh Ptolemy, also called Eugetus or Well-Doer. I think we already had that. But they haven't asked about this. The temple of Jupiter Serapis, dynastic god of the Ptolemies. It was the site of most of the Alexandrian library. When the stars are right, third time we mentioned this, she was foremost among the daughters of Menfifth Captain. I think we already had that as well. She, who is Isis. She was the goddess of motherhood and nature, also skilled in charms and magic. Caught upon Thors, one of the great Egyptian gods, a moon god. Yep, we already had that. And the messenger of those that wait shall come unto her, that they may be united. That referred to the spell of summoning, but the name is almost certain to have been passed on orally as the central secret of a mystery cult. Ooh. There were secret societies which taught religious and magical knowledge, often through ritual dramas. Because of the death of secrecy taken by initiates, oath of secrecy, very little of their teaching has survived. The union will mark the dawning of a new age, when the old gods will return, and their servants shall have power over all things. The world will be destroyed, and a new one is take its place. Oh, blast that lamp. The bulb must be going. Anyway, that's as far as I can go for now. I don't want to risk handling the scroll anymore. In the morning I can begin work properly on it. It'll take months, maybe years, to fully appreciate what we've got here, even if you know where it came from. But one thing I'm confident of, it isn't a fake. Modern or ancient, the style and script are both too consistent for that. What did the scribe wrote that know the old gods? He must have meant the elder gods of Egypt, not the great old ones of whom Al-Harasat wrote in his accursed book. What on earth? Well, take a look at that. Okay, can we check this out? The message of the book is not for you. I like his hand sign here, that looks pretty sweet. It is time. Its time approaches, and it was not yet served its purpose. Bring it to me. Well, that was interesting. I'm teacher and messenger. To those that seek, I bring wisdom and knowledge. Your thought knowledge I'll thought, and I shall give it to you. You shall know what lies beyond. Come. Well, that's interesting. I'm worried, sir. You were standing there when I came in, and for 10 minutes you have not moved. Are you alright? Yes, I'm alright, thank you. Where am I? The catacombs of Shofrath, sir. How did I get here? Well, check that out. A solar disk. Can we interact with it? It doesn't really seem like it. Can we do anything else here? Nope. Can't talk to this guy here. And this guy just has his usual dialogue. So let's go back to our hotel, since we evidently spent the night and at the catacombs. Mein Gott! Lord James! But we thought you were... What has happened? You look terrible. Please, take a seat in the bar, if you would be so kind. Just for a few minutes, while I make arrangements. Okay, that is odd. And look at that. Well, I'll be... Emil was right, it is you. What happened? Where have you been? I was in the catacombs, I think. At Chakaufa. Then I came here. Yes, but where were you before that? At the museum. With you and the professor. When was that? Last night, wasn't it? No, Lord James. That was 3 months ago. Oh, looks like we spent quite some time with the mysterious mummy. You've been missing since then. You must be suffering from amnesia. I'd better bring you up to date. You remember I was called away from the museum, I hope? Well, after we arrested the eldest woman, we began searching her properties to see if we could find any other manuscripts. At her warehouse, they found the body of her customs agent, Yusuf al-Rashid, in the cellar, and phoned me at the museum. Once I'd been at the warehouse, I went back to the station and began questioning her. She was worried about something, but before I could get anywhere, out of there was a phone call from the museum. The watchman there had discovered the body of the professor. There had obviously been a struggle. The scroll and case were missing, and so were you. It looked like a robbery had gone wrong, and I didn't have to look far for a suspect. But when I got back to the station, she had disappeared as well. What do you mean? She jumped bail? No, she put her money to better use. Lavish bribe did the trick. If I catch the man responsible... Anyway, enough of that. At that point, but when we didn't have much to go on at first, we thought that you had been kidnapped and expect a ransom demand. When that didn't happen, we were forced to assume the worst. And now, 3 months later, here you are alive and apparently unharmed. Except for your memory, that is. Even if I did tell him that I can remember what happened to me, I don't think he'd believe me. I can only assume that you are being held somewhere, that decided to turn you loose and gave you a bang on the head before dumping you in the catacombs. You had a very lucky escape, but I think that for your own safety it's best if you leave Alexandria. I'll beat the bushes and see if I can find out where you were kept. Do you have any leads? I can only assume that the eldest woman was at the bottom of it somehow, but we searched all the obvious places, her office, the warehouse, even the cafe that she owns, the Gardens of Paradise. You'll leave me to her about that though. If I were you, I'd get the next available ship back home and start to pick up the pieces from there. I'm sorry about what happened. it's no excuse. But I've never had anything like that go so badly wrong here. Anyway, goodbye and good luck. Okay, looks like that was an interesting turn of events there. So can we... there we go. Cameron must be thanking his lucky star that I've turned up alive. And the last thing he wants is for me to get involved again, but he doesn't know what he's dealing with. He still thinks it's just a question of stone papyri. If I told him that an ancient evil had reawakened, he'd think I was mad, but must find out what is going on. I must find Adrienne. But if the police can't, how am I going to do it? If she's hiding, the office and warehouse will be closed, but the cafe might still be open, and somebody there might talk to me because I'm not the police. I think it's the one on the cook's map. So, Lord James, over here, a moment please. Yep, I'm on my way. There we go. Understand from Bimbashi Cameron that you will be staying here for a few days, until your ship leaves. I've taken the liberty of putting you in your old room. How convenient, so I don't need to draw the background for a new room. And if that meets with your approval. Sure does, Emil. Can't talk to him again. So let's just walk away for now. There we go. Let's check whether he has anything to say now. No, he does not. I think we can just go to the cafe. And no, we don't need to... there we go. So let's see whether anything... Is this the Gardens of Paradise Cafe? That is correct. I'm Lord James Alford. I need to see Miss Adrienne Erlitis urgently, and the office was closed. Do you know where she is? No, she's away. She's out of town. I do not know when she will be back. Well, if you're in contact with her, can you tell her that I'll be staying at the Savoy Palace Hotel for a while? I guess he can. So let's see whether that changed anything. Oh, there we go. Oh, Lord James. An Arab gentleman just left this note for you. Apparently he sprinted past us to the hotel and arrived there before us. There we go. Thanks, Emil. Got another one of these letters. There we go. It's the exact same letter. It looks fully identical. Can you please just read this? Come on, it's not that hard. Why? There we go. Lord James, I've heard that you are alive and back in Alexandria. I must meet you tonight. Come to the Gardens of Paradise at 9 o'clock. Abdul will take you to me. Tell no one you are coming. Adrienne Erlitis. Of course, the guy's name is Abdul. What else would it be? There we go. So let's just... nope, let's pick that up. And... no, do you wish to take your mail? Yes, please. Okay, so let's do that. And let's just put it here. And then let's go to the cafe again. Come with me, sir. Well, that was easy. Come with me, sir. You already said that. Ooh, look at that. A secret mechanism. Well, she looks comfortable. So it is you. When I heard you were alive, I had to see you. Abdul, bring us some more coffee, please. Maybe, since you're alive, there could be hope. For 3 months now, I've been trapped here. Not able to risk leaving. Not even sure that I was safe here. Of course. She's been hiding from the police. The police? In some ways, they're the least of my worries. Of course it is important that they don't come blundering in, or they could ruin everything. What is this palace anyway? It is the only place I could be safe. This is where I do my real work. What do you need to ask? Yara tells me that we are fellow mystics. Only here could I erect walls and guards to keep me safe. The speech bubble here directly connected to the mouse looks so weird. Protection against the sync that can come through the angles between dimensions. Everyone who had contact with that cursed scroll seems fated to die, and I could only assume that I was next. But now, here you are, alive. Tell me what happened that night. Karen seemed to accept that I had nothing to do with the stone manuscript record, so he didn't arrest me. He asked why he had wanted one of us to go with the scroll in case of the museum, and I told him that we had specialist knowledge. which could be of help. He took me with him, and at the museum the professor became to translate the scroll. After a while, Cameron had a phone call and left. That must have been when he heard about Al-Rashid's death. After Cameron left, the professor continued to translate the scroll for a couple of hours, then suddenly... Why do we have... what on earth? Why do we have this flashback? We just saw this 15 minutes ago, so... I mean, this would be interesting if we didn't already know it, but we do. Well, never mind. The message of the book is not for you. Its time approaches. And it was not yet served its purpose. Bring it to me. Okay, so that is apparently new information. There we go. I am teacher and messenger. To those that seek, bring wisdom and knowledge. You thought knowledge our fault. We know all of this already, so why the need for a flashback? Next thing I remember, or rather want to remember, I was standing in the catacombs at Comis Jagalfa, then discovered that 3 months had passed. I blame myself for what happened. Even the case alone should have told me how dangerous it was. And nothing read as much as I did of the scroll. I should have never let it outside this room. I need expert help to translate it completely though. I had to take a chance at the museum. Someone must have tipped off Cameron, maybe Al-Rashid himself. But perhaps it's just as well. If I had kept it, the professor's fate would have been mine. What really worries me though, is not that he died and I might have, but what could have happened, since the true significance of the scroll and of that night's events, as I said just now, when the papers reported it, they made great play of the fact that the professor was found in front of the spirit door, but none of them asked whose name was written on that door. Who it was built to serve, I had 3 months to ask, and find the answer. The guides and archaeologists say that the inscription on the door is unique. It is not, but only once before I have seen it, in Prim's hellish work. She must mean de vermis mysterious. It is true, the author of Mysteries of the Worm boasts of his fantastic age, and of the time he spent captive in Syria after the Ninth Crusade. Those who have read it speak of the Sarajamic Rituals chapter, and of what it says about his travels in Egypt. There are even rumors that he spent some time here in Alexandria. He talks of a god, worshipped as Teoti Herod, thus the Great Terror, but also gives the real name and title of that god. Nyarlathotep, servant of the outer gods. There we go. Lovecraft is at it again. The Haunter of the Dark. It must have been him who came through that spirit door, come for the case and scroll. But why? What could be so important about it? Shall I remind her of what he said? He said the message of the book is not for you. Its time approaches. It was not yet served its purpose. But who is the message for? No, that isn't it. What did it say in the scroll? I should have spent more time reading it when I had it. Something about the secret name of the house through which he could be summoned, and who I knew. When I found Al-Rashid was selling papyri, he told me that he had got them from a tomb in the Libyan desert. He said there were treasures there as well, and that he would bring me one. But what if he was lying? What if the case didn't come from a centuries-old tomb? What if the worshippers of that dreadful god still exist, and he robbed them? Shall I tell her that was the incident when I arrived in Alexandria? A strange thing happened when I was coming off my ship. When I first arrived here, one of the other passengers, Turkish by the look of him, was stabbed to death. That was bad enough, but there was something almost worse about the man who stabbed him. He was shot by the police, and as he fell he seemed to change. When I looked at the body, it was human, but the skin was rough and scaly, almost reptilian, and he had hideous pointed teeth. He did not look human at all. He looked like an anthropomorphic snake. The scroll spoke of the sons of Nemeferkaptan leaving the company of men when the blood of their fathers showed in them. But why was so important to get the scroll back? Was it something to do with the purchase, with the phrase in the scroll, when the stars are right? I didn't know. I would have to see if over the last 3 months there have been any significant events in the heavens. The calculations I have to do will take some time, but while I am making them, there's something you could do. I can't understand why you found yourself in the catacombs, but if you went back there, you might see something significant. They will be closed now, so I'd suggest you return to your hotel, get some sleep, and then visit them tomorrow morning. Come back here after that, but remember, tell no one that you have seen me. If the police find me here, they will ruin everything. What we have to do is too important for that. Okay. That was, once more, a lot of text, so let's go back to the hotel. And let's go to our room. And let's get some sleep. Here we go. So let's go straight to the catacombs. There we go. Can we do something here? Can once more examine the solar disk. Can we walk down here? No, we cannot. So it seems like we can't interact with anything here. So let's go back to the cafe. Yep, you already said that a couple of times. And there we go again. Come in, Lord James. I must tell you what I've discovered. To begin with, I made a chart of the heavens to see if there was anything significant in the positions of the planets. I couldn't see anything, but I remembered what Scroll said. It talks about when the stars are right. Then the planets move too fast. If they were the key, the time would have come and gone by now. Then I thought to include Yugoth. Of course, Yugoth. What dark prowler which rolls on the rim of the abyss, at the edge of our solar system. Al Hasred spoke of it, and hinted at what it might bear with it. Only one astrologer, 13th century Karen al-Chafir, gives formulae for calculating the position of Yugoth, but he was reluctant to discuss its significance. Then I thought, if the stars are right now, I might get some clue by seeing when this happened last. So I tried regressing them, but working out their positions backwards. Al-Shafir calculated, but that Yugoth takes about 245 years to make a complete procession through the houses of the zodiac. So the last time the other planets were in the same position, relative to Yugoth, was almost 2000 years ago. When I calculated the exact date, 8 cycles of Yugoth would take 1960 years. Then I remembered that I had been happening in the ancient world then, happening here in Egypt, in Alexandria. And what was that? Well, I'm asking you. The struggle between the two greatest cultures of ancient Europe, the Roman and the Hellenic. More than just the end of the Ptolemaic dynasty, it was one of the turning points of history. At its center was a woman, mistress of Julius Caesar, and of his heir Mark Antony, the serpent of the Nile Cleopatra. Nowadays her story has become a romance, a story of doomed passion, but that trivializes it. At stake was more, much more, that who could control the Egypt and its fabulous wealth, who would rule the Roman Empire after Julius Caesar. The Romans made the emperors gods when they died, but Cleopatra and Antony were hailed in their lifetimes as Aphrodite and Dionysos, the Greek goddess of beauty and fruitfulness, and the Greek god of divine madness. The Egyptians hailed them as Isis and Osiris, goddess of creation and god of the dead. If they had not been defeated, the ancient world would have been ruled by living gods. Historians know this, but they did not know of that book, a book written for the Ptolemies, written in Greek so that they could understand it, and it could do its work. They knew that there's little reliable information on Cleopatra's mother, but they have not asked why. They know that her attempt to rule the world failed, but they have not asked what would have happened if she succeeded. I cannot stop myself asking, and I fear I know the answer. If the stars are right again, for the first time in 2 millennia, I fear what is about to happen. What's going to happen is even more exposition. Those who have got that scroll and the knowledge in it will call upon the god that they worship, that he may open the way for others, for the outer gods themselves, to return where they once ruled. It cannot happen. It must not happen. But we know so little for certain. Did you find anything at the catacombs? Nothing unusual. Because we didn't really search them in the first place. It could have been where Al-Rashid found the scroll, in any case, because it's been excavated. If only we knew where he found the scroll, he might have a lead. But the greedy fool wouldn't share his discovery with anyone else. And now he's dead. I'm reluctant to suggest it, but there's a way to find out. There are certain rites and rituals which I have learned in the course of my research, which may allow us to gain the information we need. We will need to wait until nightfall, but I must prepare anyway. Okay. And there we go again. Let us go. Abdul, bring the shovel and the rest of the items. Well, that sounds interesting. Where are we? This is the Coptic section of one of the oldest graveyards in Alexandria. At least we shouldn't be disturbed. The superstitious belief that burial grounds are the haunt of ghouls and jinns. Apart from their religion, there's little to distinguish Copts from other Egyptians. Suppose it isn't surprising that his tomb is in the Muslim style. What I have to do will not be pleasant, and you don't have to help unless you want to. Would you rather wait outside? Nah, I'm good. Abdul has opened the tomb and will prepare the ritual for us. When we go inside, it is important to avoid trivial conversation and vital that you do exactly what I tell you. When I tell you, if you do not, the consequence could be disastrous. You'll find a bracelet set out in the tomb and 3 packets of powder. When I'll tell you, add the powders to the fire. Do you understand? I do understand. Let's go. Looks like we're going to do some burn the red powder. Okay. Now burn the yellow powder. Oh dear, can we do it? There we go. Good thing that the use of Al-Rashid, by my art, by my words, by my will. Good thing she put the powders in the respective bags. Imagine the red powder had been in the yellow bag. I command you, by your body, by your spirit, by your soul, I command you. By your life, by your death, and by the life that is after death, I command you, arise. Now, burn the black powder. Okay, we're doing some traditional necromancy here in the sense of speaking to the dead. What I ask, you will answer. I command you. You have called and I must answer. But make haste, for your call may have been heard by others. I need no lessons from you on what false spirits of the dead. Answer now. Your meddling has already caused enough damage. Where did you find it? Where others had found it. In its resting place. How did you come there? I followed their path. Where does it begin? Where thought a hiding place? Where was that? You found the answer beneath your very feet. Enough, Al-Rashid. Would you play games with me in death as you did in life? Speak plainly, or I will compel you. You cannot, but I am permitted to tell you this. Your path begins where mine ended. Now release me and flee. For there's power. For here's power's great indeed. Quick. Get out of here. Okay. That was interesting. Go. Quickly. It's dangerous to remain here. I know where we must go. Come with me. Okay, so this is apparently the warehouse where Arashade died. When he said that my path begins where his ended, he must have meant here. This was where his body was found. What did Al-Rashid mean about seeking a hiding place? A hiding place for himself? Or for something else? Something he didn't want her to know about. Her company imports and exports. Ideal for cover drugs. And wasn't he her customs agent? Wasn't he your customs agent? My Didanur? Yes. What of it? When you talked about looking for a hiding place, you could have meant for drugs. Of course. The miserable dog. I knew he was cheating me by taking backhanders from suppliers and accepting inflated bills, but I let that pass because he was not too greedy. Now I know why, but he must have worried about the drug money, that I would find it if he kept it in the safe and looked for a hiding place. How could he have been so stupid? He was putting everything I worked for at risk for the sake of selling a few oak of hashish to miserable philanthropy lounging around coffee shops. Pa, come. Let us go to the office. The door to the cellar is in there. The cellar entrance is through the office. Okay, ooh, look at that. Can we check that out? Eastern Telegraph, send us copy. Following meeting with your representative, confirm sample satisfactory. Terms agreed. We'll take delivery. Mixed order compromising. Butter 100 tins. Glucose, cooking oil. Tomato sauce 50 belts each. Sandal soaps 500 pairs. Shipped via SS Francer. Okay, that is interesting. And here I've got more. I guess those are just code words. So can I please leave? There we go. That lot doesn't add up. Individually the papers are fine, but together they look like someone is trying to conceal something. The trial must set out arrangements for bringing drugs into Alexandria. Okay. That sounds interesting. So let's see what else we can find here. Anything there? Yep. Probably the postal balance. Okay. Why can I examine this specific item but nothing else? Can I actually keep this? Nope. It doesn't look like it. Can I examine these? Nope. Doesn't look like it either, so let's go through here. This is where they found the body. Okay. Ooh, we've got a piece of rope here. So look at that. Okay, I guess we have to put it on the ground before we can examine that. There we go. Bits of cut rope with some sort of dark stain on them. Yeah, this is why I don't like the floor examination system, because they could have just done that on the item screen or even on the main screen. There wasn't any real reason why they had to do it like this. Anyway, let's pick it up again. And they also don't show the cursors while the screen here is on, so that's a bit annoying too. That looks like the rest of what they tied him up with. There must be a hidden entrance here somewhere. For his killers to have got by. Okay, look at that. Can we look at that? We cannot. But you know what? I think that's enough for today. So thanks for watching, and I shall see you next time. Take care and goodbye.